Hello and welcome everybody again to another episode of the Real Connection podcast. I am Sean Santoro, mortgage agent with TMG The Mortgage Group, and I am joined by my excellent co-host, Dave McCall. Dave, say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone. Looking forward to a great talk here.
I absolutely am excited about this chat because this touches on a couple of things that I've done personally in my life and always a good wealth of knowledge. Today we're very lucky we've got Rick Rose from Keller Williams. He is going to be blowing our minds with some stuff discussing flips, real estate in general. I mean, this guy's got 30 plus years in the real estate industry. He's got a Rolodex. He's got strategies, and I don't want to delay because I want to jump right in. Rick, for people that aren't familiar with you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I was born in... Never mind.
He's also a part-time comedian, folks.
I've been in real estate for more than 30 years. For some reason, a year or two into the start of my career, I didn't really pursue it, but investment properties kind of chased after me, and I kept trying not to attack that portion, but it kept chasing me. So I started to learn all about investment properties and investments and stuff like that. And through the years, really the main part of real estate is resale residential. Okay. But I've been involved in a lot of investment properties. I'm an expert apparently in Canada on the rent-to-own system. There is an old way of doing it and a new way of doing it. And for investors, you get 30% per year ROI for a 3-year period for rent-to-own. Know that rent-to-own thing kind of inside and out. I am a real estate investment coach, but I specialize in flipping. And I've been flipping properties for more than 30 years. I'm not going to say exactly how many, probably date myself. But I actually have the flipping thing down to a science, down to a system. Most of my flip, pardon?
If I can ask, Rick, flipping in Windsor right now. I mean, with the prices, going up the way they're going up, is there still room for flipping, or are the margins getting smaller or bigger? I mean, in specifically in the Windsor Essex area, what's it look like?
Specifically in Windsor Essex, yeah. Let me talk about Toronto. I hope numbers don't scare anybody, because if you buy something for $1 million and you put 50 grand into it and you sell it for 1.2, the numbers work. In Windsor specifically, you can always find, a wreck or something that looks to be in terrible condition. And I really don't buy anything with structural issues. So
that's a
to
whole
tell you
lot
the
of
truth,
wax.
the first part of this year, it was terrible. I was actively looking for good properties to flip. And all of a sudden at this point of this year, they're starting to come aboard. I just signed up and just bought one last week. And the purchase price is $505,000. It'd be one of the more expensive ones that I've done. And the ARV from the lender, when it's all said and done, is $693.
So for those that aren't familiar, what does ARV mean?
Good question. And I was thinking that as I was saying it, after repair value. So it's actually the guesstimate or the appraisal of when it's finished. Rick, when it's all done, what are you going to
what can we expect on the market for a sale?
For what you can sell for?
And Rick, what's a turnaround time? I mean, I know that you got to hold it, you got to pay the mortgage and all the other fun stuff while you're working on it. So, I mean, when you're flipping a house, what kind of time frame are you trying to keep it within?
30 days.
Ooh.
And like I said, I've got it down to a science. I've got it down to a system, and it's the system that I've developed that's incredibly important. Surround yourself with really good people who are working on the house, know what you're doing, have a system. If we're 1st of January, by the 30 or 31st of January, we're out of here. I typically have a house for 3 months, 1 month to work on it and get it pretty. 2 weeks I'm allowing to sell it, 6 weeks to close, 3 months I go and pick up my my profit check.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Perfect.
And
So
that's
that's
exactly what I teach my people.
and again, that's the system that you run, that you built up over the years, and you just kind of work out the kinks and figure things out. And that's kind of how you've kind of arrived at that kind of recipe, for lack of a better word.
Absolutely. It's taken me a lot of time and a lot of money to learn what to do properly. I finally got there.
That's one of
No,
those things, right? Experience is the best teacher. You learn right quick.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
a lot of people, Rick, think that, basically selling a house is you pop it on the MLS, do a couple of open houses, throw a sign up, and boom, it's done. Um, we all know that's not the truth. What do you do to kind of, you said you want 2 weeks to sell. What do you do to get that house, once you've got it fixed up, out the door?
But part of my system is let's prepare it the past couple of days that we finished kind of the construction. Staging is very important. Nobody likes to walk into a vacant home, and if we want to bring a little psychology into this, it's much easier for a man and a woman to walk into that house and say, I don't like where they're putting their sofa and that chair and those tables. I would put my stuff here and there and there, instead of somebody psychologically going into a vacant house and saying, where do we put everything? It's much easier to replace. So staging is very, very important.
Yeah.
I social media is these days is critically important. So we blast it all over every type of social media. I obviously put it onto the local real estate board, but us being here in Windsor, every one of those, without fail, I put onto the Toronto Real Estate Board.
Yeah, why
Well,
not? Right? Get
when
the eyes looking at it, right?
when it comes,
Those they want to buy a first-time buyer house in anywhere in the GTA. They're looking at 850, 1.2 million is the average in Toronto. They come down here and I can buy a really nice rebuilt house for 400 or
You,
693, whatever. Where do I sign? I'll take it. And it's
right
almost that quick. Yeah. They make
now,
decisions very quickly.
so with social media, what platforms do you find work the best for real estate?
Facebook is the elephant in the room. I mean, you've got to be on Facebook, but then LinkedIn is very good for the business people, the people who have money. Twitter, who is now X, TikTok, all of the social media. We don't miss anything. We hit them all just in case.
Sure, sure.
Yeah,
So sort of a shotgun effect, just to, get a little bit of everywhere, and
that's the term.
yep, yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
that's perfect. So
Now,
in terms of
the,
when you're sorry, Dave,
no, no, go ahead.
when you're doing a lot of your flips, what would you say is the most common problem that you come across?
Yeah,
You know, at my studio, that's a very good question. And that is more a question for somebody who's done 3 flips. What's the
Okay.
biggest problem? Because
Sure.
honestly, at this point, if you take my system and take what I teach you and walk you through and everything like that,
It's going to eliminate a lot of
virtually
them.
there aren't any
Yeah.
problems. The first problem is finding a half decent property,
Okay.
finding a half decent house. And I'm pretty particular on the ones that I choose. I don't want any structural problems. So
Mm-hmm.
typically on every flip that I do, I walk in and I go, rip out the kitchen, rip out the bathroom. So what do we want? We want a brand new kitchen, brand new bathroom, brand new flooring, brand new trim,
Mm-hmm.
a professional paint job. We're out of here. And that's one of the reasons that me and my crew, my guy, can do this in 30 days.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't want to get into a whole brand new electrical system or, a whole brand new furnace if I can help it. Those things take time and they're expensive. So
now, have you ever run into that? And I mean, I've watched some of the shows, where that pull open a wall or do something, and it's like, oh my God, wasn't expecting that kind of thing. Do you ever run into that?
Yeah, like a
yes,
human body. Like, holy cow, there's a person
no,
near this wall.
a couple of dogs, few cats, but no human bodies.
Okay, there you go.
I found a
Kidding.
couple of birds before, like, and that scared out of me. Like, just you grab it and you're like, that feels no, and then it's got
There's
feathers and
something
oh
wrong
my god,
here.
yeah, no.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do you do when you run into that problem? When suddenly you pull open the wall, and I mean, obviously when you're flipping, you've got a certain budget, right? You don't want to spend more than you need to. But you open the wall, and now you're looking at an additional, 5,000, 10,000. I'm just throwing out numbers. I don't know.
Let me give you some accurate numbers.
Sure.
I budget $20,000 for a flip.
You could do a kitchen and a bathroom for 20 grand.
Oh, and flooring and trim and paint.
Wow.
Yes, I do, not can.
Oh, wow. Come to my house. Come on over to my place.
There's a
I think you
slung in there.
Just go with construction at this point.
And that includes labor.
Holy cow.
Oh, yeah. Give me really? I pay my guy $8,000 for a month. I pay him $2,000 a week. He's there for 1 month. I pay him $8,000. Now, Sean, or how much is a toilet?
$150, 99 to 150.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm.
If you break down the cost, and you're a good shopper, if you break down the cost, it really doesn't cost a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you go to Lowe's, Home Depot, whatever, and you can buy the boxes with the doors on them, with the hinges on them, and that's smart because you're saving a lot of time in the installation.
Labor, construction, yeah.
Flooring, you can always find some deals, even if you have to pay retail and go to Home Depot or Lowe's, it's now Rona. You can keep your costs down. So I actually budget right around $20,000. Mm-hmm. And then I really don't. I add on $5,000. Okay. So I budget for $25,000 just in case I open a wall and there's something in there. Yep. And typically, not every property is going to go 100% smooth. You're going to find something that's going on in some wall or something. So I actually budget $25,000 for my renovation costs, including labor. And this is what I teach.
Have you ever used one of those, like, basically, I mean, it's a repurposed kitchen from, what's the place?
Restore.
Habitat. Yeah, Habitat for Humanity. Or what do we typically
that's the Restore.
Call it?
Yes, yeah. I have. And I 2 or 3 flips ago, I thought I would try that. I went down to the Restore, you just took this one out? Well, before somebody else, I'll take it. Mm-hmm. And I will never do that again.
Okay.
And we learn lessons as we go along. The reason is because no kitchen that came out of somebody else's house is going to fit perfectly into mine.
That's a good point. Yeah, you'll have to do, fabricating or, rejigging, whatnot. Yep. That makes sense.
1. 2, it came out of somebody else's house. So, although it's in good condition, what I did was I had it by a kitchen guy. I had it professionally painted. Honestly, by the time I went to Restore and purchased the whole kitchen, and I had to go and pick it up and deliver it to the flip myself, stopping at the painter's place and having it professionally painted, I could have gone to Rona and bought the boxes, and they do up a piece of paper and print out. Well, I take in the measurements and we fit everything in perfectly. I order the stuff from Rona. It's already painted. It's brand new. It has the doors on it, and it fits perfectly in there for about the same price as going to the Restore, having it properly professionally painted, and then trying to install them and fit the pieces where they weren't meant to go in the first place.
Right. Spending way too much time there.
Yeah.
And as you said, time is money, and time is money here in this situation, for sure.
It really is. Yeah. And time is time. If you really want to get into the business, you're doing it. January 1st, you get possession of a place. By the 30th, you're finished. Maybe by February 1st, you want to start the next one. And you don't want the first one to go too far over to the next one.
Right. Because
you start
somewhere down the line. Down the line, you're holding that something for a little too long.
Exactly right.
Absolutely.
Keep rolling.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Now, when it comes to basically work-life balance, I got to ask, when you're doing all this stuff, you got flips going on. Maybe you got one, maybe you got two. You've got you're also selling homes. You're teaching. You're doing that. You got a lot going on. How do you balance everything?
That's a really good question. One thing I can say is I'm on my second wife, and finally found a good one, and she is wonderful. She happens to also be a really good residential, almost professional painter. She does the painting on the inside of my flips. She's involved in most or all things that I do. I don't have any kids at home anymore. They're gone, and they're with their own families. And to be very honest with you, if you have, not just for a flip, but in life, if you have a good system and everything is really organized, there's time at night to go home and have a nice meal and a glass of wine or whatever. It all has to do with just having a system, fitting everything in accordingly, and having fun at what you're doing.
Yeah, that's seriously important. It is. Absolutely.
As long as you're having fun, you're never really working.
Yeah. No. When it starts to feel like work and you're starting to stress about it and everything else,
that's a problem. You can go home and
they mentally start to check
sleep
out
at night.
Yeah.
So as long as you have everything really organized, you've got a good system in place for. I'm a big list guy.
Oh, yeah, you and me both. I'm there.
So
I'm there.
Just you think of something, you're like, there we go.
Yep.
There we go. So I keep making lists and writing stuff down so I don't forget anything, and try and keep things systematic, and they just keep rolling along. You keep smiling, and see, Sean,
keep smiling, keep dialing. That's it. That's the business.
When you're choosing a place, do you go by the old worst place in the best neighborhood type of scenario, or is there something that you do differently?
It really doesn't work like that. I found with flipping, if you're looking for a brand new home in a brand new subdivision and you're going to be there a long, long time, I would recommend that somebody don't buy the biggest and best place in a subdivision, buy either a small place or a medium place, because after 5 years in a brand new subdivision, it's like water. Everything kind of levels
equalizes
out. Yeah. And the biggest, most expensive places actually come down a little bit in price, and the smaller, medium places actually, and everything kind of so. In a flip, grab them where you can find them. But again, I'm very particular on the houses that I buy. They have to fit into my system. And when they do, I'll jump on them very quickly. But finding them is part of the tough stuff.
And so that was actually a question I was going to ask before, and I got I lost it for a moment. But so you have a strategic advantage. You're a realtor. You're seeing these. You recognize properties. You could drive by it and be like, that's a decent looking place. Pull it up on your realtor.ca app and like, that's what they're asking for. Like, okay, maybe it's a bait offer. Who knows? Or maybe they're just like, that's, maybe there's a story here. For people that aren't as talented at that or are just getting started, and I suspect the answer is going to be use the right system. But in a nutshell, what would you say the average person could use in terms of a tool to say that could be a good flip?
So to start answering your question, 25% of all the properties that I buy are not on the MLS system.
Okay. Are they listed at all?
No.
So they're not even off market?
They're off market.
Well, again,
on market means that they're on the MLS system. Off market means somebody's trying to sell them, but they haven't listed
private
with the realtor
kind of deal.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Which means if you turn the numbers around, 75% of the properties that I buy are that type of thing. Either a wholesaler has found this house and they're making their little, $10,000 or $20,000 on the way through, but the numbers still work. So that's typically where I go first.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. If you want to get into a little bit of, that looks like a really nice place. Like sometimes the wholesalers will, I'll do a little appraisal on it based on what's in the subdivision and that, which as a realtor gives me an advantage. And I used to be an appraiser. I have my stamp still, my little paper stamp thing. And that gives me a little bit of advantage too, because I appraise it the way it is now and appraise it the way the ARV or the way it's going to be.
Gotcha. So that's probably helpful. Yeah, you're able to kind of project what the final outcome's probably going to be reasonably.
Exactly. Part of my system, though, giving away part of the secrets of coaching, what the number down here is, what can I buy it for?
Mm-hmm.
The number right here is how much do I have to put into it? We've gone over that. I budget 25. The number up here is what can it sell for when we're all done.
Mm-hmm.
And this number here is the profit. So don't let this shock you a whole bunch, but I normally aim for, and I'm more on the higher end, but in coaching somebody, I aim for somewhere between $60,000 and $100,000 in profit on every flip. So
that's a pretty successful 3 months.
Yes, it is. So that $100,000, that one that I put in there is absolutely flexible, which means if I'm not going to make 100,000 after I figure everything out, and I'm only going to make 75 or 80, it's my decision on whether I want to move forward. 75 or 80, yes, I would move forward. So those are the four numbers. There's a little more complication to it, but those are the four main numbers that I use.
Gotcha.
So now, do interest rates really affect what you do? Well, not particularly.
The best thing to do is really not go to a bank. The best thing to do is either go to a loan company that is specializing in flippers and funding them, helping do flips. Another great thing is private lenders. It's actually less expensive to use at 12 or 15% or something. It's actually less expensive to do that than to go to a bank. They have their little rule book, they have their fees, they have their buyout, they have so much stuff at a bank. You go to a private lender, he says, "Let me see the deal." That looks good. Sure, Rick. I know you. Let's go.
And credibility probably helps a lot there as well, right?
If it's the first time, they probably want a lot more down or something. Yeah. But once you start working with a private lender, you get to a point where you can phone some private lenders and, okay, Joe, I've got another one. Is it a good one, Rick? Are you going to make money on it? Am I going to get screwed? Everything's good. No, Joe. Okay, let's go ahead and do it. Once you get to that point with, maybe a few lenders, that's the epitome. That's where you kind of want to aim for.
Yeah, that's where your connections and your networking and everything else come into play. There is, building those relationships with the different individuals, with the people who are going to be working on the house. Finding somebody, and I think this, to my mind, anyways, finding somebody reliable to do the work is going to be key in this type of situation.
His name is Eric. He's my guy. You leave him alone.
You keep your fingers off. You keep your meat hooks off. That's it.
Because it took me a long time to find my Eric. And that's part when I start training, the very first thing that I start training is mindset. I don't even train about renovations or flips, or the very first lesson that I teach is mindset. Get your mind don't think negative. Well, I'm not sure if I can do this. Make sure, yes, we can do this. We are going to do this. We're going to make a good profit. We're going to do. My very first lesson is kind of mindset.
Well, I'm a firm believer that, basically kind of like the Facebook algorithms, our brains work that way. If you start looking for a certain thing on Facebook, it shows you more of it. If you start thinking a certain way, in your own life, you'll see more of it. I gave an example the other day. You go out and you buy yourself a new car, and then suddenly you notice that everybody else has the same car as you.
That's it.
You're now putting your perspective there, and so now you're noticing it, and you're being more attentive to it. We can train our brains to be, more positive or to think a certain way. It takes a willingness to do that, but we can definitely do it. So I think, training yourself into this yes, we're going to be able to do this. This is what we're going to do. We're going to follow this system. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to do this. And this is going to be our outcome. Not, well, will this be our outcome or should this be our outcome? But this will be our outcome. I think that kind of mindset really makes a difference.
Yeah. Karma can be a bitch and karma can be a wonderful thing. And you want to make sure you're kind of going, in the right direction.
Absolutely.
So yeah, actually,
Sean's done a few flips before.
There you go. There's my trick. Don't look too closely.
Oh, hang on.
Screenshot.
I'm leaning in there. There is my the basis of my training program. And if you can see right at the very
number one, proper mindset.
Mindset.
Yeah.
That's the very first thing I teach. Let's go into this with the proper mindset, and then with my help and coaching. Once you've done one flip, you learn a lot. Once you've done your second one, if you have a really good system, you don't need me anymore. I'm always there for people if they have a question, but they can then move forward.
Well, now, Sean, you've done a couple of flips.
I've got a couple under my belt. Wasn't without problems. That's a much longer conversation, but
the question is, would you do it again if you had something like Rick is talking about?
With the proper system in place? And I muted my phone and it still came through. Oh, it's because it's Brienne. She gets the bypass. She bypasses the do not disturb.
There you go.
She's got the elite level access. Anyways, would I use the system? Absolutely, because again, at the time, the most recent one that I did, I was co-captain, right? And they were steering the ship and I was along for the ride. And I didn't exactly know how to do a flip, and that's why a lot of the reliance was kind of on the other party to get like, hey man, like take her away and you let me know what we do and we're going to do it and make it happen. And COVID happened and there was a bunch of things that kind of transpired over the time period. But yeah, long and short, having a proven recipe that I could follow, would that make it easier? Absolutely. Right. No question that would make it easy. And then I agree a big one in terms of the networks and the connections, because at the same time, connecting with other flippers, you find out and experience problems that they've had that maybe you haven't had yet. So, right, as much as, experience is the best educator, if I can learn from an experience that somebody else had to go through and save myself the headache of learning it and still get, at the end of the day, learn how to handle that problem without actually having to go through it, that's a double win.
Yeah, that's why I mean, in any kind of business, and I do the networking. So in any kind of business, mentoring is huge. Mm-hmm. Taking the experience from people who've, done it for, decades, and say, hey, yeah, well, what if this happens? Well, this is what you do. Mm-hmm. There's no question about it. We've done it a million times. We've made all the mistakes for you. So now, we're gonna bypass all the crap there, and we're gonna basically give you the gold nuggets out of all the crap that we've had to dig, and that's great. That really is.
My rhetorical question to both of you, and I don't expect an answer. If you were pretty much, there are no guarantees in life, but if your expectations or you pretty much knew you were going to make $75,000 profit, that's the check that goes into your bank account. How much would you pay for a coach? It's a rhetorical question, but a number might sound large, but if the end result is way larger, it kind of makes sense then to
and that goes for Rick. You're absolutely right, because I run into businesses all the time that I talk with, and they go, well, I can't afford to hire somebody to do my social media. I can't afford an accountant. I got to do it on my own. I can't do this. And I say the same thing to them. Yes, it's going to cost you some money to hire an accountant, or it's going to cost some money to have somebody do the social media, but the return on that person, is going to be much larger. So you have to think of it as an investment, absolutely.
Or cost of doing business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I prefer to think of it as an investment.
Well, again, it's one of it's one of those circumstances. You ever hire the cheapest lawyer in the city?
Ooh, yeah.
Have fun. Enjoy it.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I need to pay $2,000 for this. Okay.
Yeah, you do.
Right?
Sure. I
love
the
juice worth the squeeze is always my go-to.
I love people I talk to who say, well, yes, we got to write up a contract, but I'm just going to copy something off of, online or something and just sort of tweak it myself, rather than go to the lawyer who has the experience, who's, going to make sure that all the dots are dotted and all the T's are crossed. And 9 out of 10 times when people try and do something without that experienced person, it doesn't turn out so well.
Mm-hmm. No, it's really good until it isn't.
Yes.
Well, and that's the thing, right? Is a lot of people look at that like, well, hold on, I have to pay $1,000 for this contract to make sure that this partnership agreement is correct. Yeah, you do. Because if it doesn't, the thing that you're literally putting money into and spending tons of time on doing that you're planning on making, at least a reasonable profit at, otherwise you probably wouldn't be doing it. All of that's up for grabs. Why? For $1,000?
Yeah.
We're not selling ice creams here, right? Like,
down the road, it might cost you $25,000.
Exactly. Right. So, and at the same time, it's like, okay, but they're going to do it right. It's going to be accurate. And what's to stop you from using it again?
And again.
Right. And again. Right. Again, most of those paperworks, and lawyers will tell you this, like most of it's the same. Most of it. And so as long as you're not tweaking the recipe too much, there's very little reason why you wouldn't be able to reuse the document and again change certain things. And if for me, I would probably reuse, change the details, and then still send it back to the lawyer and being like, hey man, here I'm doing a new one. I reused the template, changed some info. How's this look? And they're probably not going to charge you $1,000 to review the thing that they already sent you that you've just edited a couple of pieces, right?
There's certainly for things like that, there's a thing online called Law Depot.
Yeah.
Where you can actually, for just a small fee, they send it to a lawyer. They have the lawyer look it over, and the lawyer says, looks good to me, or you're going to want to change this.
Mm-hmm.
So there's lots of places where either online or locally where you can have that done. And like you said, it's not going to cost you near as much. But yes, and Rick, you're talking the same thing, but I'm going to put some numbers in a smaller thing here.
Can I interrupt you just for a second? I noticed I noticed you're both wearing hats.
Yes. Oh, there you go. Going to join the team there.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm a member of the team.
That's it now.
Okay.
Yeah. If you said to somebody, you're going to fill out this contract, it's going to cost you $1,000. If you don't do it this way through me, there's a chance it's going to cost you $10,000.
Yeah.
Now, how the question they have to ask yourself is how many times, are you going to roll those dice before they come up snake eyes? It's definitely worth, that's the smaller investment to not get kicked in the teeth down the road. Absolutely.
Exactly right. Exactly. Do it properly. Have a system.
Yeah.
Part of the system is sign a contract.
Yes.
And certainly for the first one, you want to get 10, 15, 20 flips under your belt, and then you want to go cowboy? That's up to you because you've at least got some experience. But the first time, no. The first time you got into a car, did you drop it into fifth gear and just go and hit the 401? Probably not.
Probably not.
It'd be a little excessive, right? So let's be cowboys when we can afford to be cowboys later.
Yep.
When you're starting, just do it. Keep it simple. Do it right. Don't stress yourself out. The headaches alone are going to be enough to sink it anyways. So why bother? Do it the right way.
It's the same thing in business, which I deal with. It's the same thing with mortgages you deal with. Make sure that you're getting the right person, to help you out, who knows what they're doing, who has the decades of experience,
Totally.
And then later on down the road, you'll pick things up on your own. And you won't need to pay so much because you'll have that experience under your belt.
You guys are both. Imagine me as a realtor going in to list your home, either one of you, and saying, they say, don't I have to sign a contract? Don't worry about it. Never mind the contract.
No, who needs contract?
Oh, so many things can go wrong. No, and the real estate contracts, are 100 years old or something, and they put so many Band-Aids and fix so many things. Those things are bulletproof now. So every time we list a home, even with a buyer these days, every time we list a buyer, we get a contract signed.
Yeah, buyer representation agreement, right?
Exactly right.
There you go.
Exactly right.
I appreciate your time here, Rick. We're not going to hold up too much of your day. I do have one quick question, though.
Anything.
How can people get a hold of you? I mean, you've got this system, and if they want to talk to you or reach out to you, where can they find you?
You can get a hold of me. I'll give you all the website information, but if I could give you my cell phone number, and I don't have a problem with people phoning me, maybe not after 10 o'clock at night, not before about 8 o'clock in the morning. 519-567-2350 or rickrose.com.
Perfect.
Okay, perfect.
And you're on Facebook as well.
I am on Facebook. I'm on everything.
He's on the TikTok. He's on the LinkedIn. It's all here.
I have a great assistant over here that puts me like everywhere.
Oh, that's what you need nowadays.
Okay. Also, if you punch it into Facebook, I also have a group that people can join to get information. They'll have more access to me and everything. And it's Real Estate Flip Mastery.
And that's on Facebook.
And that's on Facebook.
Perfect.
Yep. Do you do any like in-person talks or anything like that, or is it all just like over the internet, over the phone type of thing?
To get to know somebody and everything, I'm happy to do like a Zoom call or something. Right now, I'm negotiating, we are negotiating. There is a huge conference in downtown Toronto at the end of June. I've been kind of invited to go. There's going to be 1,000 investors sitting in the audience.
Solid crowd.
We're talking about giving me about 45 minutes stage time in front of 1,000 people. So yeah, occasionally.
Nice.
I'll get in front of people. For the most part, though, and the way my coaching works very quickly is I try to do it in groups of 10 people, and then I am with them for an hour and a half, 2 hours, once every 2 weeks. But available if they run into something, I'm available anytime for my paid up coaching clients. So
perfect.
Okay, perfect. Well, it's been great talking to you, Rick. Lots of fantastic information. And hopefully for our listeners and viewers, they'll reach out to you and learn a little bit more, find you online. And Sean?
Another wonderful chat. I learned some stuff, so I'm definitely going to take away some stuff from here and update my notes, as I'm a note taker. But anyways, Rick, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate your time, taking the time out of your day and educating us on the system and just some of the tools and stuff that you use. So thank you again. Appreciate it. Everybody, again, thank you very much for tuning in. Keep a lookout for the next episode. I'm Sean Santoro with TMG The Mortgage Group. Dave, you want to send off?
Absolutely. Dave McCall, World of Networking. And you can find The Real Connection on, kind of like Rick, on Facebook, Instagram. We have our the realconnection.ca website. You can find videos, all our podcasts, guest information. We're going to be launching our new blog this month. So we're going to have lots of information from all our guests. So just check us out and look forward to, having more chats in the future, Rick.
You know what? Thank you both so much for the invitation. This has been absolutely enjoyable.
You betcha.
Have a great day.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, everyone.